Welcome once again to this week's edition of An Irritable Person's Mailbag, during which I will slowly read to you everything you could have read for yourself Monday through Friday on my Substack, Ask an Irritable Person. Monday. Dear Irritable Person, I caught my kids watching a program on public television the other day about evolution. I don't think that kind of thing should be taught on TV. What do you say? Sincerely, Concerned Parent. Dear Concerned, I agree. Evolution should not be taught on TV. It should be broadcast on TV and taught in schools and put into practice throughout our day. Be evolved. Sincerely, Irritable Person. Tuesday. Dear Irritable Person, I am sick and tired of people disagreeing with me all the time. At least it feels like they're disagreeing with me all the time. I don't actually get out much. When a friend disagrees with me about something, I turn them into an ex-friend so quick they're filled with bad ideas heads spin. Of course, I'll give them a chance to change their minds before I cut them off. I do my best to convince them that they're wrong, but some people are just stubborn, you know? Still, all this disagreement is really stressful, and gummies aren't helping me even out as much as they used to. What do you recommend? Sincerely, Sick and Tired. Dear Sick and Tired, I recommend you build a cabin in a remote area and move into it like I did. Something off-grid so you don't have to deal with utility companies or anyone having anything to do with customer service. I spend all my time alone, but I'm not lonely. I keep up a lively conversation with myself all the time, and I win every argument. For a challenge, I'll imagine having arguments with other people, and I win all of those too. It's much more satisfying than dealing with people in person. The only reason I started this column was because it gives me the opportunity to tell the rest of you how wrong you are. That's my way, and it works for me. And no one can tell me any different, because there's no one here. Sincerely, Irritable Person. Wednesday. Dear Irritable Person, I am a new mom. I glow, apparently. My husband tells me that when he looks at me cradling my newborn and looking into her sweet, sparkly eyes, it reminds him of the Pietà. I had to Google that and then tell him to stop saying it. It's not as good a visual metaphor as he thinks it is. My husband is an idiot, but that's not why I'm writing you. I had an absent dad and an absolutely terrible mom. She didn't quit smoking while she was pregnant with me, and she exhibited the same passive-aggressive neglect toward her children throughout her mercifully short life. I married my husband the idiot to get away from her, and then she died from lung cancer during my honeymoon. If she had died during my bridal shower, I'd be a free woman now. Even her timing sucked. And now I have one more thing to blame her for. She was a terrible role model. When I look into my newborn's sweet, sparkly eyes, while my husband is hazily recalling a sculpture of the Virgin Mary cradling the dead body of Christ, I'm thinking, how many different ways am I going to mess up this kid? I had no good role models. How am I supposed to learn how to raise a kid? From YouTube videos? My kid will grow up to hate me, just like I hate my mom. How can I break the cycle? I'm not asking for myself, I'm asking for my daughter, so I can tell her to get off my back when she gets to be, how old? 12? 16? 58? When is it okay to stop blaming your parents? Sincerely, Parental Issues. Dear Parental Issues, it's okay to stop blaming your parents when I stop blaming mine. Because I will never stop blaming my parents. I know they were trying their best, but really, I don't care. Every moment that I spend blaming them is one less moment I need to blame myself. It takes a big weight off my shoulders. It sure beats taking responsibility for my decisions, my actions, my speech, my whole damn life. You blew your opportunity for peace and tranquility by having kids. So forget everything your mother taught you. For the next 18 to 21 years, you need to live in opposite world. Instead of a sneer, give them a hug. Being a good mother will feel wrong in every fiber of your being. Fortunately, you do have a great role model in what not to do. Happy belated Mother's Day, Irritable Person. Thursday. Dear Irritable Person, I've been glued to the TV following what's been going on in Los Angeles. All the chaos and looting and fires, and now the Marines and National Guard are patrolling every city block. It looks terrible. But I find it confusing because I live in downtown Los Angeles and everything seems fine. The TV news keeps showing the same video of those burning Waymos on a loop. Is that still happening, or are they just showing us the same Waymos over and over again? Whenever I leave my house, I fully expect to see a substantial armed presence, as always promised on TV, but I'm just not seeing it. There are a few more cops on the metro, helping homeless people, but that's about it. It all seems pretty chill. And the weather is great, as usual. I'm an adrenaline junkie, so if my city really is on fire, I'd like to go there in person and enjoy it. What am I missing? Sincerely, Disappointed. Dear Disappointed, I'm sorry to tell you this, but the violent demonstrations were confined to a few blocks of downtown Los Angeles and controlled by the local police before the National Guard and the Marines deployed. If you want, you could troll through Little Tokyo and the nearby federal buildings, but I'm afraid you missed the apocalyptic nightmare that you were promised by the TV news people, because it never existed. Since that didn't work out for you, you could consider taking part in one of the growing number of peaceful protests that are going on, perhaps on No King's Day, June 14th. If you can tear yourself away from that video clip of burning Waymos, that is. Not expecting much. Irritable person. Friday. Dear Irritable person, I'm reluctant to write to you at all, but I suppose it's safe, seeing as how I'm not using my real name and I'm sending this from an anonymous email account. Those are still a thing, aren't they? Anonymous email accounts? Anyway, I hate what I see going on in this country, and I would like to speak out against it. But I watch the news all the time, and I see burning cars and cops shooting unarmed demonstrators, and I'm afraid to leave my house. I figure if I just shut my mouth for a couple of years, we'll have new elections in 2026 and 2028, and everything will be okay again, right? Sincerely, Afraid. Dear Afraid, as someone who lives in an off-grid cabin in the woods, I sympathize. However, I'm old enough to remember that after 9/11, the New York City mayor at the time, Rudy Giuliani, proposed suspending the elections that were due to be held in a few weeks so that he could stay in power. He was term limited and couldn't run for re-election. The situation was too unstable to have new elections, he said. He had to stay in charge. What happened was that we had the elections, elected Daddy Bloomberg, and the city kept on functioning in its own uniquely improvisational way. The troops that are out in Los Angeles now are there to suppress dissent, not to keep the peace. And they'll be everywhere in a year and a half to scare people away from voting in the midterms unless people show up and speak out now. Protest, but protest peacefully in whatever way you are able. With fear for our democracy, Irritable person. And that's it for this week's mailbag. Look for Irritable Person's weekly catch-up audio mailbag every Sunday, and follow the daily column Ask an Irritable Person every Monday through Friday on Substack. Or subscribe. It's free and virtually certain to remain so for the foreseeable future.